All right, YouTubers, it's me once again, Sarge USMC. The YouTube channel is called Mix Match Stereo. This is a follow-up on the pairing of the Bose 901s and the Aperion audio super tweeter. I think this is the Mark II version. I think the total cost of the super tweeter was, I think, like $6.99, and that's what I paid for the Bose this summer, $6.50. So the super tweeter costs more than the Bose that I bought used this summer. The Bose is a direct reflecting speaker. Has a total of 9 full-range tweeters. You got 8 in the back of the speaker, the rear of the speaker, which is firing towards the front wall, reflecting off the front wall and coming back towards the listener. I think the owner or designer was a Amir Bose. He tried to mimic the sound from a concert hall with the reflecting sound. And you have the one tweeter up front, which is shooting directly towards the listener. So a total of 9 4-inch speakers. And I put them in my big system about a month ago, and I was deeply surprised from the sound that was coming from these Bose speakers. They had a bad rep for years. No highs, no lows, must be Bose. But I totally disagree with that. Now, this is the version 6. I think they came out in 2016. I think they ended production a year later in 2017. But the very first Bose 901 came out in 1968. So those listeners who said the Bose 901s were terrible speakers, they might have been based it upon the version 1s that came out in 1968, or the version 1 through 5. I cannot attest for that sound. I never heard them. I might have heard a pair of Bose 901s in Best Buy years ago, but that was being played on some cheap receiver. I have the version 6, the last version, and they are dynamite speakers. Now, my main speakers is a pair of Wilson Audio Wah-Puppy 8s. I have a pair of Tectines here, Tectine Lures. I have a pair of Clips Forte still in the box. Now, I had the Clips Forte delivered about a week ago. Normally, they would have been in my system same day, same night. But I am currently still enamored by the Bose 901s. So the clips are on hold until it's going to be hard for me to pull these 901s out of my system, especially now with the super tweeter. I first installed the super tweeter that night. I played it most of the night. The next day, I wasn't sure if I was hearing an improvement with the super tweeter added. I said, man, was that money worth spending on this super tweeter? But another day went by. I was messing around with the hertz on the back of the speaker. The super tweeter, you can go from 8 to, I think, 16. And the frequency response on the super tweeter is like from 18,000 to 40,000. Now, 40,000 is double the human hearing range, which is 20 hertz, 20,000 hertz. So the super tweeter will double that up to 40,000 hertz. I was disappointed the first day or so, because I really couldn't say that I was hearing an improvement. So I played around with the DV control on the back of the super tweeter. I played around with the frequency hertz. I had it down to the lowest, 8,000 hertz, then 10,000 hertz, 12,000 hertz. because the Bose sounded so good before I added Super Tweeter, I wasn't sure if I was hearing a difference until this is what got me. I turned the Super Tweeter off and stood by the speaker playing music. I turned it off. That's when I heard a difference. It's like the speaker, the Bose 901, which I had high praise for. They were blowing me away. But when I turned the Super Tweeter off, it's like the Bose lost some life. I said, wow. I guess the Super Tweeter was doing something, but I really couldn't tell at first. Until I turned it off, the Bose lost some life. It lost some rhythm. I clicked the Super Tweeter back on, and the Bose came back to life. Excuse me. So, the tweeter was doing something. I couldn't tell at first until I turned it off and back on. Now, I cannot live without that Super Tweeter on the speakers. Granted, yes, the Bose sounded awesome all by themselves. But when I added that Super Tweeter to it and turned it off and back on, it was doing a lot that I really couldn't tell at first until I took it out of the picture. So, my assumption on the Super Tweeter with the Bose 901, is it worth it? I would say, heck yes, it's worth it. Once again, the Bose was awesome all by itself. When I added the Super Tweeter onto it, and yes, it added more life and more liveliness to the Bose 901s. So anyone out there who have a pair of 901s, if you want to add more life to it, I would say, yeah, I would definitely invest in a Super Tweeter. Yes, I got the Aperion audio, I think it's Mark II. I think the retail price was $699. And he asked me, was it worth it? And I said, yeah, it was worth it. Because it really woke these speakers up. I was enthralled and excited with the 901s by themselves. With the addition of the Super Tweeter, oh yeah, it's a big difference. Like I said, I couldn't hear it at first because the Bose sound good. The Bose sound great all by itself. But adding the Super Tweeter, when I turned it off and had the Bose playing by itself, it's like the Bose lost some life. So that was it was well worth it buying the Super Tweeter and adding it to these speakers. Once again, if you got a pair of Bose 901s, you want to add some life to them, I would definitely invest in a Super Tweeter. If not Aperion Audio, some other name brand. But yes, I am very happy, and I would give this combination a big 2 thumbs up. Once again, this is Sarge, USMC, name of the channel, Mix Match Stereo. Stay tuned, more to come.